Are you concerned that the president is acting this way towards his attorney general because of Russia?
Of course. Let's analyze this. What the president's doing is brutal. How would you like to be working for a man who is trying to hound you publicly into resigning? What kind of loyalty does that inspire? And it's unprofessional. I agree with Lindsey Graham. For a president to be directing his attorney general to initiate a prosecution is unheard of, and to do it publicly is just unthinkable. And the real reason behind it, as one of your guests noted, it's all about trying to dissemble the Bob Mueller investigation, to try to stop this investigation into the Russian impact on our last presidential election and the Trump campaign. It's very obvious what he's trying to do, and the scenarios are unfolding. Get himself a new attorney general, take over the special investigation himself, take Mueller out of business, take the heat off the White House.
If that's the goal, Senator, and he does remove the attorney general after you go out on a full recess, he might be able to appoint him without Senate confirmation during the recess. Do you want Mitch McConnell and the Senate to avoid going into a full recess for that reason?
Yes, if that's what it takes. I think it's that important. If we don't stand for the principle that no one in this country is above the law, then what are we? Is this a nation of laws? Is it a nation of justice? To think that the president or any person in the White House is above the law is unacceptable in America.
So how would you do that, Senator? I mean, that's pretty significant. If you're saying that you can't go into a full recess, how to avoid the potential jamming in of an acting attorney general, how would you do that?
We're exploring the ways right now.
Would you try to filibuster the adjournment resolution, or can you give us any...
I think I've told you as much as I can tell you at this moment, but the idea that this president would use the August recess to stop the investigation of the Russian impact on the election and his campaign is unacceptable.
All right, very interesting. You're making a little news there. I want to turn to Paul Manafort, who, of course, has been subpoenaed by your committee. After that meeting that has now been documented with officials claiming to represent the Russian government offering dirt on Hillary Clinton, he said this. Take a listen.
Are there any ties between Mr. Trump, you or your campaign, and Putin and his regime?
No, there are not. It's absurd, and there's no basis to it.
Given your committee's investigation, how do you view those kind of denials, given what we know now publicly?
Well, you'd never know it if you heard Paul Manafort's lawyer give a list of particulars of things that we can't do, can't ask, and who will be privy to a transcript, who can read it, and who can't. They're trying their very best to narrow this investigation to a big nothing burger, instead of going after the underlying issues of Paul Manafort's involvement with the Russians, his involvement in the Trump campaign, and whether or not there was any linkage between the two. The direction we've received from the Department of Justice, from the special investigation, is do what you need to do as members of Congress, but make sure your witnesses are under oath and testify in public. Those are the two things that Mr. Manafort is fighting.
He's fighting that. So at this point, do you expect that he will ultimately appear?
I don't know. It's possible he shows up, pleads the Fifth Amendment. Who can say? But if he has nothing to hide, he should come before this committee, let us ask our questions, and give us the answers.
You have previously called for Jeff Sessions to resign. Are you basically changing that position now, given the import of Russia and the president's comments?
Well, of course, some of the things that Jeff Sessions has done as Attorney General explain why I voted against him. He's basically told federal prosecutors across the United States, don't worry about filling our prisons. Go ahead and prosecute to the highest possible penalty. Exactly the opposite of what we should be doing from my point of view. And secondly, his directives when it comes to immigration policy have been stunningly insensitive when it comes to a number of people in this country who have done nothing wrong other than be here in undocumented status and deserve a chance to earn their way into a legal status. So those two things I did object to, but this notion of displacing him, pushing him out of office to end the Russian investigation really puts me in a very conflicted situation.
Understood, Senator. Before I let you go, I do want to touch on health care, obviously the other big important story here with the Senate action. Your view of what it means today that there is this procedural progress, but that so many Republicans now appear to be exploring a straight repeal, when, as we all know, they've been on record saying it better to repeal and replace. What happens now? What's your view? And, well, why does it matter to regular folks?
Well, I think Mitch McConnell really was masterful in opening the debate, but I think he's got his hands full in trying to close it, because he has a number of Republican senators, not just the two Republican women, Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins, who showed exceptional courage, but he has a number of Republican senators who've served notice on him that they're not going to be party to this secret process jammed through at the very end. And leading that charge is John McCain. Came in and voted with Senator McConnell, then gave a 15-minute speech and explained how awful this process has been and how he's not guaranteeing a final vote unless we have some dramatic changes in our approach and substance.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.